Hello, sir. So we're just waiting for the other panelists to join in. So just a few moments more.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Sir.
Yeah. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. I can hear you. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah. I would like to request Kanwar sir and Alok sir to please turn on your video so we can spotlight you on the webinar.
A very good evening to our esteemed panelists, faculties, alumni, and students. I am Pranjali Ghule, along with Gunraj Singh and Rakib Beg. On behalf of Corporate Relations Committee, IIM Kashipur, welcome you all to the second edition of Vriddhi, the annual finance conclave. The theme of the conclave is rethinking the concept of money and investing for a sustainable future. It has been a really challenging and transformative period for each one of us since the onset of pandemic. But it is said that limitations live only in our minds. However, with hard work and perseverance, our opportunities become limitless. We have truly come a long way since COVID-19 pandemic, and there has been a monumental shift in our ideologies. Finance is the elixir that allows any business to grow, engage, and eventually thrive in this world. The digital world has been a catalyst in the further transformation of the finance industry. It is imperative that we focus on the right technologies to take advantage of this inevitable disruption ahead. Today, sustainability has also emerged as a key driver for long-term success of any business. We believe that there are three facets of sustainability that every organization strives for: towards one's business, towards the workforce, and most importantly, towards the world we live in. So, in order to gain insights and perspectives of successful industry executives, we have 5 accomplished finance leaders from significant corporations with their expertise to enlighten us today. I take this opportunity to welcome our panelists, and we look forward to an informative and energetic evening with you all. To begin with, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Mr. Kanwar Singh. Sir presently holds the position of Vice President of Finance and is serving as the CFO of Oracle India. A seasoned finance and operations leader, Mr. Kanwar Singh has an experience of 28 years working in the corporate and MNC environment, covering Indian and international markets. Sir has demonstrated leadership abilities and broad expertise in complex matrix organization and has contributed in both volatile and development phases of the business. Sir has previously worked with Microsoft, Motorola, Ericsson, and has been an active participant in CFO conversations across all platforms. We are honored to have you with us, sir, today. We welcome you.
Thank you. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, sir. Our second eminent panelist for today, Mr. Alok Kedia. Sir currently holds the position of being the country head at IndusInd Bank. He is a chartered accountant with over 25 years of experience in the top and senior management positions in reputed MNCs and private banks in India like ICICI Bank, Standard Chartered, and Yes Bank. Sir holds a diverse industry background with exposure to general management, client relationship, business development, products and credit appraisals in the BFSC sector. Apart from this, Sir has a proven track record of setting up and building new businesses in banks. He has demonstrated high capabilities in developing and implementing business models, leading to better risk management and growth. We are looking forward to hear from you, sir, and we welcome you.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to the discussions.
Yes, sir. I now invite Raghib to introduce the other panel members. Over to you, Raghib.
Thank you so much, Pranjali. Our third panelist for the day is Mr. Abhinav Jain Ranka. Mr. Abhinav is currently serving as a CFO and finance head at Pharmeasy. Sir is a chartered accountant and has an overall domain expertise in both finance and legal functions. Previously, he has worked with companies like Capsigal, Aditya Birla Group, and Binani Group. Sir has competencies in areas like business performance management, strategic investment decision making, creation of critical controls using IT backbones, among many others. What makes his journey as a finance leader at Pharmeasy so enriching is his contribution to the growth and vision of the company. His skills in strong governance and risk controls have resulted in a healthy growth in revenue and a critical improvement in operational metrics. Sir has also been recognized as one of 40 under 40 finance leaders by the business world. He is a business focused person and believes that success for him is in creating a legacy and achieving the best. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Raghib, for the introduction. Looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, sir. The next panelist for the day, Mr. Ajay Kumar Goel, is presently the CFO at Infosys Consulting. He is responsible for finance functions at Infosys in the Asia Pacific, Latin American regions, and for HIPPOS, a joint venture between Infosys, Hitachi, and Panasonic in Japan. Sir is a performance driven professional and possesses strong planning and relationship management skills. With more than 17 years of industry experience, Sir has been a front runner in various financial areas. He is a university merit holder and a qualified chartered accountant. Sir has also been recognized by Business World as a 40 under 40 finance leader. We're really honored to welcome you, sir.
Hey, thanks, Raghav. Look forward to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Gunraj to take the event forward.
Thank you, Raghib. Our next panelist, Ms. Seema Singh, the ex-CFO and current CHRO of India Post Payments Bank, Government of India, was expected to join us today. Unfortunately, owing to her health condition, she is unable to join us in the panel discussion. Instead, ma'am has joined the ongoing live stream for the session to give us her blessings and good wishes. We wish you a very speedy recovery, ma'am, and hope to host you sometime soon. Now, before moving on to the exciting discussions ahead, I would like to acquaint the panelists with the flow of the event. Firstly, I will be posing the questions, and then the floor will be open for all the panelists to share their thoughts, and post which will be a Q&A session with the students present here. A thought certainly comes to mind upon seeing all our eminent panelists. Sharing knowledge is the charity of knowledge that constitutes the way of a beautiful life. With this quote and a hope for a fruitful discussion, let us move forward with the session. Now, moving on to the first question, we would like to begin the discussion with an overview of where we stand today. Since India and the world is currently in active recovery from the adverse impact that COVID-19 had on the economy, businesses, and our lives, as you all are from varied industries, we would like to gain some insights as to what your assessment of the current economic conditions are and the financial situation of different segments as of today. If any of the panelists would like to throw some light on this.
Thank you, Gunraj. I'd like to start here. So we have all witnessed COVID-19, and that had impacted us both in terms of life and livelihood. And to understand this better, let us understand where we were before COVID, and during COVID what happened, and post COVID how we are tackling the economic situations. So before COVID, we were well poised to hit 5 trillion economy, and it took 60 years to become 1 trillion economy, then 12 further years to add a trillion more. And we were kind of well pleased to hit 3rd trillion in 5 years, but because of COVID, that got impacted. But again, we were planning to hit 5 trillion economy by 2025, which as of now looks difficult. But because COVID impacted in majorly because of lack of resources, lack of manpower, lack of production. First phase, people were struggling for finance. Second wave, people were struggling for lives. And in third wave, though we were kind of started getting used to with COVID, but still there were severe impact in most of us, most of our lives. But one thing I witnessed is we all have seen is resilience in the entire industrial corridor. We adopted technology, we move fast, Unlike other countries where there were significant monetary benefits, significant financing from the government, India was not in that category. But so initial couple of months or a couple of quarters were very bad. But from Q3 or Q4 onward, post-COVID, we started picking up, and that helped to gain momentum in the entire value chain. And today, I keep on saying this: future belongs to those who are fast in adopting technological changes and changing landscape of the business. We adopted fast to technology in some or other form. Most of the businesses have adopted online businesses, digital payments, and today we are number one in UPI collection and UPI payments. This helped us in getting into a phase where we continued with the impact of COVID. And see, one more important thing I want to quote here is there's a quote from Warren Harari. Electric bulb is not the outcome of series of development in candle. We have to think out of the box when we are in these type of situation. Whatever improvement we are bringing in candle cannot make candle an electric bulb. So all the business houses went to their blackboard, strategized the thing from scratch, started how they can work in the current situation, and this helped. And from there we got the momentum. And this helped in hitting in top 5 spot in terms of GDP at global level. Though we might miss 5 trillion economy by 2025, but still I believe we will be able to hit 10 trillion economy by 2030. Reason is very simple. We are very accustomed with the technology. We are using AI. We are using various new age technology that is boosting our business, and these technologies will fund our new course of growth. And see, we Indians are very good in working in crisis situations, and we guys are known for jugaad, and that's what is on our DNA. But in a nutshell, I want to summarize. So see, we have seen it's not only digital businesses are growing. We are seeing consumption across the country. We are hitting 3.5 trillion mark. We hit 3.5 trillion mark recently. Still, there's a long way to go, and the contribution will come from all the sectors, from government, from public, from private. And see, the infrastructure is ready for us to take off from here. So I'll open the floor for others to add. Thank you.
Yeah, if it's okay, I can add something here, especially with reference to pandemic per se. It was once in a lifetime, once in a century kind of an event. Obviously, it still continues in some shape and form. But the way I look back at these last 2.5 years or so is that it also became a big opportunity, an opportunity for corporations, an opportunity for individuals. And let's just focus on the corporations piece, because that's where I think the audience here will be mostly interested in. So from a corporation perspective, I think technology adoption has accelerated across sectors as a result of the pandemic coming into play. And we noticed this change both as a technology company, as individuals in our own spheres. What that really means is that today, if we look back last 2.5 years, I think the degree of technology adoption that we have had, and we continue to be on path to, we probably leapfrogged 5 to 7 years instead in this 2.5 years in terms of technology adoption. And this has happened all across. The other part which also has come into play is, the entire norm of efficiency in terms of how you can be efficient, where you can be efficient, and where you are based in. So the location piece has kind of blurred. Today, you can be anywhere and you can still be efficiently contributing. That's one piece. Yes, people are coming back to offices. That's required in many specific domains. It is required in some shape and form, probably for everyone, just to get the human interactions in play. But if there is one call out that I would leave this forum with is, it has been a big positive across for adoption of technology. I'll just pause there, and of course we can contribute more as we go along.
I'll
So if I
just
can-
add. Yeah, Alok, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah. So just wanted to share, what is the current, let's say, situation economic wise, and how is it looking like, let's say, next 6 to 9 months. So of course, as the world came out of the COVID, okay, it was hit by another challenge in the form of the Russia-Ukraine war, which has impacted the global economy unprecedented, I would say. The impact has been unprecedented, and of course, India has been a kind of an exception, that because of the nature of our economy, which is more consumption driven, we are not as impacted. But otherwise, if you see globally, the economy has taken a big hit. You are all aware. You keep reading. The recession has actually. The global economy is staring at a recession. All the economies are hit by high inflation. So that is one actually the major development which has taken post-COVID. We are almost completely out of the COVID implications. Talking of India, yes, we despite all the challenges which are there because of the Ukraine war, we are still growing at about 7%. Which is good. Of course, if there was no Ukraine war, probably would have been growing at 8.5 to 9%. Currently, if you see, while consumption has taken a bit of a hit in the last 3-4 months due to high inflation in India as well, but otherwise, from a banking perspective, as we see it, almost all the segments are doing well. For example, car sales in September actually hit an all-time high. Air travel is going up. All the hotels are seeing huge amount of booking. Bank limit utilizations have gone up. We are seeing capex funding from the industry, which are all indicative of a pickup in the economy. How do we see this going forward? Well, there are various views, but my personal reading is that this Ukraine war is not going to last much of time in the future. I think US and other major economies are also realizing that the sanctions are not working actually the way they wanted to be. It is actually hurting the Europeans and the American people more. So while they had taken a decision to go for the sanction, but somewhere the realization has started coming in that they'll have to work out some solution. So I personally feel that it's going to actually draw to end sooner than people think. And with that, because actually, if you see, this inflation was all result of this Ukraine war. The commodities became expensive because Russia is a global major supplier of the commodities. The dollar became stronger, and which resulted in inflation across the economies. So I feel that with America slowly, tactfully withdrawing from this thing, things should get better from here in next 3 to 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Alok. Right. So So guys, I'll just try to give a global color, right, to what has happened and where are we right now. Okay, I think the panelists have spoken about a lot about, right, but COVID, etc. and all that, right. See, my personal view is that I think personally, right, means like I work with a lot of global companies and all, and I sit in US, right. So the more I was worried about recession 6 months back, maybe I'm not that much today. Okay. And what like Alok mentioned, right, the lot of data points, right, the car consumptions, car procurement is on the highest, right. The banks are performing well, right. Generally what happens, one of the biggest indicator of recession is that NPAs start increasing, right. All those interest rates have started increasing. Okay. Maybe we have to see, right, maybe next 3 to 6 months will be very critical to see whether all the borrowers, they are able to pay their dues, etc. on time or not. So that will maybe a very good indicator where we are heading. Now, see, we have to look this in two different ways, right? So one, what is road ahead for India, and two means how the global impacts are going to impact India, right? In my mind, right, considering the way India is growing and the way the leadership India is having right now, I'll not say the decade, but maybe the century belongs to India. When I say the century belongs to India, right, this is a kind of an environment which never had for professionals like you. Okay, you are kind of a future CEOs, CFOs, presidents, whatnot, right? Now, like we are talking about, right, means like Kumar mentioned that as an IT company, right, means the way the work used to happen has changed, right? People have started coming to offices, etc. and all that, right? But can we achieve the environment, especially in the service industry, the way it was before COVID? Never ever, right? See, today, if suppose there is a resignation in my team, right, they come with thing, right, can I work from home permanently? If I say no, say, guys, I have 5 offers. Okay, so you are running in that kind of world. Having said that, where is the industry? I'll say the peak of recession, again, I may be wrong, this is my personal opinion. The peak of recession or whatever we have been talking, we have reached, right? Where is the global scenarios, right? The Russian, Ukraine, etc. and all. I think that has all been factored in the industry now. Okay, unless until there is like there's a discussion that some ballistic missiles, nuclear, etc. and all come with some other surprise, right? Which will be fatal for the global economy. Yeah, so just to conclude, right, which you guys may be interested in, where we are heading. Yes, future is very bright. India is growing. The future belongs to India. Today, you can, in the current environment, you can sit wherever you want and you can work for global companies, right? And yeah.
Can I just add to what I just said?
Sure, sir.
Okay. So, Ajay, thank you for bringing the discussion towards where the global economy is shaping up. I just have some data points and some discussions that I've had with some senior professionals, and I'll share based on what I know. Obviously, it comes with a caveat. The caveat is very simple. That I know this is a very large audience of some brightest young minds here, and we are, panelists here. We have some experience with us, which I'm sure you guys will gain faster than what we have gained. But none of us has the ability to predict. So whatever I say here is just my assessment. Okay, if I had the ability to predict where the stock market would be, I would have been not working anymore. None of us would have been. Okay, so let's just take that with a pinch of salt. But here is some data points. US, I think inflation is currently still 8% plus. For US, that is 4x of what their target inflation should be, which means the likelihood of Fed, Mr. Powell, continue to increase interest rates is very high, and he's taken that hawkish stand. Not many would remember Mr. Paul Walker, who used to be the Fed chairman in early 80s in US. And if you have studied, then you can go back and study what Mr. Paul Walker did, because he really pushed up the rates of interest to such a height that it actually ultimately had an impact on US manufacturing. So I think all central banks will have, at some stage, they will have to take a relatively balancing act. US Fed, my personal expectation is they will continue to raise interest till such time they can bring down inflation to a more controllable level, maybe at less than 4% or something of that sort. Because at 4x of what their tolerance level is, it's not going to stop. The rate of interest will go up. Now, if their US Fed rate of interest goes up to, let's say, 5%, that's almost another 175 to 200 basis points more than where they are currently. It would have multiple effects all across the globe. And when we start, let's just straight away start correlating that with India. So what effect could it have with India? First of all, I think we have to compliment our Reserve Bank of India of taking a very balanced stance so far. RBI repo rate at 5.9%. Today, with inflation at more than 7% for almost 8 to 9 months now, I think RBI is taking a very, very balanced picture currently. They're balancing out growth with interest rates per se. But if Fed continues to raise interest rates, then the first thing that is likely to get impacted, will continue to be impacted even more, is FPI investments. You've seen FPI investments moving, out of India, and coming back for some opportunistic investments again, and so on. So we'll have to watch that very carefully. FPI investments moving out means more pressure on rupee, and that's where RBI will have to play a very delicate balancing role. I'm just glad that RBI has managed this very well so far. Compliments to RBI and Government of India on that one. The other factors which will become a matter of concern from an economy perspective is current account deficits. Current account deficits currently, both state governments and central governments put together, are running high. And coming out of the pandemic, that's another area which we will have to watch out for. Both of these coupled can determine where our currency rates will be, and currency rates in terms will determine a lot of other factors. So if US economy slows down, will it impact our exports? Yes, it will. One of the data points suggests that almost 18% of India's merchandise exports, and I'm talking merchandise exports, not services, is heading to Americas now. That's a big component. So if America starts slowing down or going into recession, clearly there could be an impact on our exports. On the other hand, is there enough domestic market to offset it? Well, I'll leave that question to the esteemed panelists per se. Yes, there is domestic demand. But within domestic demand, we have to also look at India, the nature of domestic demand. We spoke about V-shaped recovery after the pandemic. We spoke about K-shaped recovery after the pandemic. The judgment is still out there, which shape is it forming currently. But one thing which is an anecdotal evidence, the anecdotal evidence suggests that, let's say cars, I think that example was given. You pick up any car which costs about 1.5 million rupees or more, there is a waiting period. But you want to pick up a car which is like, let's just say about 5 lakh rupees, it's available on demand. You can pick whichever color, whichever shape, and you get immediate delivery. Same thing, anything that denotes luxury or that denotes upper middle class aspirations is in high demand, has waiting period. Most of the things which are, denoting less aspirational value seem to be available off the shelf. And that indicates a possible K-shaped recovery. Again, I said the judgment is out there, we don't know. I think most importantly for this audience, we have to be very specific. It's good to know the general economic trends, but as you guys head out and start working for corporations or institutions or banks and so on, you also have to be conscious about how the particular specific business where you will work for is getting impacted. And the impact of all of this on individual businesses can vary 180 degrees from each other per se. So, it's something that has to be evaluated from that particular individual business perspective. it is still, I think, very important for all of us to be cautious about any inefficiencies that are built into our systems and try and tackle them. I'm sure banks are doing that. I'm sure corporations are doing it all the time. And especially in such volatile times, it is important to keep a watch on that. And not to forget, any potential supply chain disruptions. I'll just give you a very simple example. We are all aware of gas supply disruptions that Europe is facing now. We are aware Germany is the largest economy as far as Europe is concerned. Now, think Germany, think gas supply, and then think what kind of industries are running in Germany. Germany still has a lot of specialty chemicals industries, which are directly dependent on gas supplies. So there are potential supply chain disruptions which might happen if the war in Europe takes an ugly turn. We have to be watching out for that. So this is just an example. We can go on and on. This is a topic which can consume next 2 hours. So I'll just pause there. I think the word is that yes, India is a land of opportunities. Yes, all of you have a very bright future. In medium to long term, India's differentiated rate of growth, faster growth as compared to the other leading economies, or let's say we are 5th economy today, and all other 4 economies which are ahead of us are growing slower than us. So we are a land of opportunities. That part is clear to us. We will make this future well. All of you have a great future ahead of you. At the same time, I think the word of the week or the word of the month is optimism with caution. That's where I'll pause.
So I agree with what you said, and just to add, yes, it will impact India also, because India is not fully decoupled. Yes, there are linkages with global economy also. So if something bad happens, the first thing which will get hit is the dollar going high and crude becoming more expensive, which is going to impact. So India is not immune. India is not going to be immune from the global, let's say, whatever happens globally. So while we are hoping that this Ukraine war will probably come to an end sooner than we might think, there is another challenge that we might be staring at, which is the US-China conflict over Taiwan. And you never know, how this geopolitical events take turn. So we're keeping, our fingers crossed as far as future global events are concerned.
Thank you all for helping us to understand the current economic condition better by stating all these relevant facts and figures and giving us an idea about the current demand in the economy. It was indeed very informative for all of us. Your insights on how we bounce back from the adverse conditions by embracing the adoption of new age technologies and eventually rising ahead are very valuable. As the panelists have rightly said, we can fight any adversity with resilience and out-of-box thinking. A great advice indeed. The discussion has certainly set the stage for our next question of the day. It has really thrown a lot of light on the economies of a company and the impact of recession on the Indian economy, which was actually our next question. So now moving on, capital market processes have become more digital as market participants demand faster execution speeds and seamless access to information. These technologies accelerate changes in the industry, but also raise concerns around cybersecurity and data protection. As you all are professionals who work with a lot of sensitive data, how have you handled such roadblocks that have come your way?
Yeah. Like the finance professional, right? So, and the way the compliance regulators, right? The way they are behaving. So that the data sensitivity, the control on data, the way the information is the spreads, right? Means it has been controlled a lot. Okay. The most important thing is technology, right? Means how you can use technology in order to ensure you have the relevant access for the people in the system and during critical times, right? Say, for example, whenever I'll give you a very example from Infosys, the way we do, right? Say, for example, when we go in the earning season, right? And Infosys is one of the corporation which goes very early in the market with the earning, right? Maybe say 7 to 8 days from the quarter, right? Now what happens, right? So there is a program which is run. The program gives a heads up to the people that these are the excesses people are having, right? And for next 7 days, you give a confirmation to us, right? Whether you need this access or not, right? And it becomes the respective subhead functions, right? Responsibility of subhead functions to ensure that people are having the relevant access, and they take the ownership why a particular person is having a particular data access, right? And when we enter into the closure, right, we ensure that only the relevant information goes, right? And then we have something called UPSI, right? The access to price sensitive information, right? So even if suppose I'm on a call, I'm telling a particular information which can impact the price of a stock during that period, that need to be recorded, right? And when you create such kind of an architect, right, to control the data for the access data with the help of technology, it ensures the probability of going information in wrong hands is reduced significantly. So this is a technology piece, right? The most important piece is that, right? I mean, like I mentioned, and I reiterate for the sake of reiterating, you guys are going to have very serious and very senior positions wherever you will go. It is about taking any work, any data in your hand with utmost responsibility. Even sharing in a very casual manner, it can be hazardous, right? Say, I'll give you an example. Say, you receive a call from one of your friends, right? And for a particular corporation where you're working, and he asks, right, means how things are going, etc., and all that. And again, you're in the middle of closure, etc., and all that. You have to be very cautious what you are talking, right? Even indirect message can create a lot of trouble. I received a call or a WhatsApp message from my friend, one of my very, very close friends said, betting on you, I have bought Infosys. Okay. So what does it mean? He's saying, means you do very great, means you are my friend and I am buying Infosys. The indirect message of this is what, right? Okay, you would have told me something, you would have supplied me some information, based on that I'm buying Infosys. So immediately you have to act on those things, right? And try to avoid talking on numbers, on data in any forum where you are working, and maybe to the specific industry you are working, especially when you have all these regulations, insider trading, etc., and all that. Yeah, I'll take a pause here and I'll request other panelists to add on here.
Yeah, Kumar, please go ahead.
I'll just, want to add it here, because the question was related to cybersecurity and data breaches. So, there are multiple technologies available today which can help us mitigate the chances of any cybersecurity breach. The point that we often miss out, and I know some significant corporations have missed out, and there are studies available on that, is that are we leveraging what we have to the fullest? I will, just to simplify, this is a very young audience. I think all of you love your mobile devices, right? Whether that's an iPad or whether that is a phone that you carry in your hands. That's your lifeline in most of the times. But how many of you are very conscious about the security layers that you can build in on the devices? They're available. How many of you consciously build those layers in and use them? how many of you are, generally enjoying life and saying it's fine. I'm not that important. If anyone takes my information, it's fine. So it's all about having that, first of all, that consciousness of how do we secure ourselves. It starts with ourselves. When we talk about capital markets, data security layers, fortunately, we have some very learned professionals who are doing that responsibility today. And we can be proud of the fact that some of the largest digital exchanges are now in India. We cannot still say that we are the most traded and so on and so forth. Of course, there are other exchanges in the world which are having more transactions or more frequent transactions. I'm sure you have also heard about transactions which are driven by algorithms per se today. So to that extent, cybersecurity becomes important. The multiple layers of cybersecurity, or what can secure your data, are: one is the software layer, one is the access layer, which Ajay very rightly pointed out, which is controlling the access. That's the first layer. Then you have the software layer, which secures it. And now we also have a hardware layer which secures it. So there is hardware available, which is called bare metal, which in itself has security features built into it per se. We now have databases which are autonomous and self-healing. So you don't need database administrators to be looking at data every time you have to deploy a patch. Those patches come in automatically. It's self-healing databases per se. So there is technology available. The point, again, I'll repeat, is most of the times when you hear a cybersecurity breach, it is not because the technology was not available. It is because someone did not leverage that technology. If there is, let's just, I won't go into specific, but let's say you are using a database which is version X, and version X plus 3 is available. So you are already on N-3. So if you are on N-3, obviously there will be security. I would say there could be an opportunity for someone to breach that, because you're not applied the latest levels of security available in the latest version of that software. So very often it has happened is that either you are using multiple softwares which don't talk to each other, and then because you use that, then you create a sliver for hackers to get in, or you are using the N-2 version or N-3 version, which then creates that opportunity. There is technology available. I would only assure this audience that if you are working for a corporation and if you have the opportunity, let's just make sure that if the technology is updated, yes, the world is still ahead of hackers.
Kamal, I agree with you. But at times I wonder, while all the technological advances are taking place so as to avoid this security breaches and data privacy and all, how to take care of data breach, privacy and security breaches if the internal employee itself chooses to actually do something, some hanky-panky. So that is something. I'm not an expert on this field. Happy to get some views from other panelists how to take care of this, because obviously it's the internal employees who have who have all the access to all the data. So how to take care of that thing?
I think Ajay articulated that part in terms of building in the data access layers and access only for need to know basis. I'll just give you one example, and we are doing that in the corporation where I work currently. We are practically removing, even for finance, and now we are talking to a finance audience, remember, even for finance, we are practically removing data download access. We are wanting to give people data visualization access. So you can play around with data, create visualizations that you want, create dashboards that you want, but we are limiting the need to download data, which is then spread across multiple laptops, which could be at hundreds of locations all across.
Yeah. And
that is just one, but I think Ajay kind of articulated it well.
Yeah. So Alok, one more thing is that keep educating people, right? Keep telling them means what roles you are doing, right? And whatever, at the end of the day, right, whatever technology we bring, whatever excess control we bring, right, if suppose someone wants to play with the data, very easily they can do, right? Now, for example, so when this starts, right, so you have critical days of 10, 15 days, right? If someone wants to do a mess around, he can do that, right? When you go into your earnings. Okay. Right, if suppose someone has done that, right, you have to always tell that, guys, what happened with that guy. Okay. In our corporation, and this is a public information, a gentleman, right, maybe 4 or 5 years of experience guy, he went and he took very strong positions in the market day before earnings, and he had some information because he was involved in closing, etc. and all that. He quit Infosys. He joined again a very eminent organization. SEBI put a fine of 30 lakh rupees on that guy, and he was kind of a 2-3 year experienced guy, right? He paid close to 2 years of his salary. He came in the media for bad news, right? And he became kind of untouchable, right, by industry. So in every forum we go, right, when we tell people, I mean, especially for the freshers, right? So we have close to say 200, 300 chartered accountants who join us in a year, and maybe more than that, depending upon that region. We go and tell that what is insider trading, what is corporation policy, what you are expected, and even by sometimes it happens, right? You disseminated information, what you need to do immediately, to whom you have to reach, what can be the implications, etc. and all that. And I think broadly it works very well at the end of the day again, right? Again, if because like say in any organization, in closing, you'll have a group of people who are involved, and if someone wants to play with that, they can.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I mean, see, even if let's say you limit access, sometimes what happens is, I mean, people are involved in discussions, and so discussions they get to know, I mean, so many inside information, critical information.
Yeah. There is no control to that. If can we prepare a 100% foolproof mechanism? No. Answer is big no.
So
the only thing is that you can reduce the probability.
Yeah, just wanted to add to what other panelists said. I think there's a cybersecurity insurance is also available that can be also looked at. And over and above, there are a couple of insurance policies. See, always plan for the always hope for the best and plan for the worst. We don't know what will happen on any given day. And in our case, we are we are kind of a consumer facing company. In our case, there is no access to anyone to download data from the system. They require various level of approval to download the data from the system. Even this is for founders and this is for CTO, CFO, everyone in the ecosystem. Similarly, it's not only us, there are multiple companies who are doing this thing. These type of protocols are required to ensure there's a system awareness in the entire ecosystem, and there's a seriousness on how to handle data for the entire within the entire team. So these type of principles or these types of protocols are required more importantly. And see, over and above, other than this, like we have covered most of the points. Other than this, we believe that hard layer of securities, access control, data protocols are required for any new age company or even traditional companies.
See, also, as Ajay was also pointing out, it's training, evangelization, making people aware, making people review those trainings at least every year, which kind of keeps the memory fresh. How do you build a threshold for someone to not do something that might look enticing? You build that threshold by various levels, whatever we have discussed so far, plus within this forum, put the fear of God in them. And that's what I think Ajay was also referring to, that hey, there is SEBI, there is SEC in the US, so there is enough penalties that are applicable for any data breach today, which I believe will keep people honest. but yes, if something goes wrong, then you've seen some marquee names in US going behind bars for some kind of insider trading, right? So that's something which we should just be aware of. We haven't seen that kind of a big example coming out of India so far, but yeah, I think similar rules now apply in India as well.
Thank you all. Indeed, I think the discussion has covered a lot of concerns related to cybersecurity and how we view the security and protection of data. The consequences and actions of informal conversations are surely something to be wary of. Now, I would like to request Raghib to please take the section forward. Yeah.
Thank you, Gunraj. Now the next session for the day talks about green finance. In the global world, we cannot ignore the impact of a company's investing decision and how they impact the world we live in. With green finance gaining a lot of traction and companies aiming to achieve a much more sustainable growth, the discussion has never been more relevant. So this brings me to the question that how does green finance affect the risk return portfolio for companies, and has there been an impact on the lending policies keeping sustainability at the forefront? Over to you, panelists.
Let me start here. Let me start with what is the definition of green finance. Green finance, this word was first coined in 2012 in one of the forum UNSEC, and there were earlier also various organizations, governments giving funding for green project, but the term was never coined. On that forum, the definition, this was defined as giving finance for sustainable development and green or clean energies. So whatever, and the organization those are giving funds are called green finance institution or green funds, and the projects are called green projects. So in India, this has gained momentum recently when Niti Aayog came up with the request and request that if you have to make transportation carbon neutral, then this require funding. And earlier, SEBI came up with the regulation on the green financing, securities and all. And recently, RBI also given guidance for green bonds for the entire industry. But in India, unlike other countries like China and all, China or developed countries, this is not getting significant momentum. Yet organizations are moving toward it, but they have huge pressure and huge pressure on profitability and other factors as well. India is again at sweet spot, but that doesn't mean we are very up to the mark on green or carbon neutral economy. Though in one of the forum, our Prime Minister agreed by 2070 we will become a carbon neutral economy, but this requires a lot of investment from both public and private sector. One thing that can be done easily is to promote this is giving tax holidays to the corporates or enterprise will help enterprise to get into the skin of carbon neutral economy or green green energy, clean energy, or sustainable projects. But as of now, the milestone is way away from where we are. By 2030, we believe we will be able to reduce 35 to 40% of the carbon emission that we were doing earlier. But still, there's a lot many things. The target is way far away from where we are.
if any other panelists would like to join in.
Just a general remark, although this is not a core area of specialization for me, but just being in the industry for a long time, and I started off as an institutional banker. It is imperative today that sustainability and green initiatives are becoming more and more central to every commercial enterprise's new initiatives per se. Whether it is a new office building or whether it is a new factory that someone is building up, clearly being energy neutral is becoming one of the facets that people look at per se. You've seen some of the new iconic buildings coming up, which are kind of environment friendly, and so on. You also have now started to hear that, hey, this particular airport in India is now, getting closer to being carbon neutral or getting closer to being, a green airport, and so on and so forth. So this consciousness in itself is the first step towards, achieving the green energy goals. Also, I think we as a country, and this is something which we should be proud of, we have been blessed with the kind of climatic conditions which will help us generate more and more green energy as we go forward. And with solar energy becoming more affordable, one has clearly seen tremendous investments in that sector. I don't have the exact numbers here in terms of how much energy are we already producing and how much is on its way. But the difference is visible already. Other forms of green energy, is also something which we can harness. We have plenty of opportunity to harness even wind energy forms and so on. And you would have noticed even in your surroundings, buildings coming up with solar panels on the roof and so on and so forth. So all of those are small baby steps, which will clearly help us go towards achieving this green energy. Whether it will become core of financing per se, in terms of it's being a financing norm or something of that sort, well, I have no particular answer to that one, and this is something which I guess we will have to wait and see how things evolve.
Yeah, just to add on, right? So see, this green energy, right? So it was kind of if you go a decade back, right, it was kind of a more fancy word, right, where everyone everyone would talk about that, but no one will take any specific and maybe tangible actions there, right? But now what has changed, right? So globally, everyone has realized that you cannot survive with all whatever the forms of energy we are using particularly, and you have to build alternatives for that, and right, and you will not have a great example than the electronic vehicles, correct? The way the momentum is being seen, right? The way we want to run the future auto industry, okay? And if you talk to the industry experts, especially just staying in the automobile and the car industries and all that, people are pushing their requirements or pushing their buying decisions on cars, etc., and all that, right? Because they know maybe in 5 years you'll have total different market, and it put a stop to all. It put a stop to all the conversations where we are heading, right? Whether financing of this kind of a business can be profitable or not. You pick the data of maybe last 4-6 quarters for all these companies, right? You have a lot of industries like State Tata Power, the electronic batteries companies, etc., and all that. So you will see the trend will be changed. In fact, in my mind, right, it has changed to a great extent. But you will see, all of us, we will see in our daily life, right? Yeah, now we are talking about the trucks, right? The truck carriers running on electronic trucks, etc., and all that.
So just to share with you all regarding this green financing and how does it impact the portfolio quality and returns and all. So see, what has changed from a banker's perspective, that bankers have become more conscious. Now they want to actually lend, do green financing. Okay, there was no conscious effort earlier. So now it has become a conscious that want to lend, but at the same time, there's a clear this thing that there will be no compromise on the risk-reason thought process of the bank. So that is where it is right now.
Thank you so much, everyone. Being the new generation who have a responsibility to think about the world we live in, the industry insights we have gained today will surely make us much more conscious in our future decisions. Sustainability surely seems to be the way ahead for any business. The investments that we can contribute towards renewable sources and green energy has become more relevant in today's world. I will now invite Pranjali to take the event forward.
Honestly speaking, Gunraj, Raghib, and all our students, we would definitely agree that by now we have got to know a lot about finance, its recent trends, sustainability, a lot of it, right? So moving on, this gets me to another two questions which come to my mind right now. As we all know that technology has been a catalyst for the finance industry, making it a lot easier to try new things and implement them. But on the core, it's still the people that shape the businesses, bringing life to the industry. So I would like to ask, what impact has technology and digital innovations have had on the finance industry? Also, as it has been rightly said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Again, a finance quote here. Considering the top professionals from the finance industry that we have with us today, I would definitely like to grab this opportunity to get your valuable advice, which our students would definitely treasure for life. So how do you all also think that the students entering into the finance sphere should prepare themselves to thrive into the digital finance world? So looking forward to your words of wisdom. Over to you all.
If I can take up the first one first. See, from a banking perspective, it was started with let's say people not going to bank. As far as the people almost stopped going to the bank branches, and now it has moved on to basically making everything paperless. Every conceivable process or engagement as paperless. So, for example, of course, you don't need to fill up any paper for account opening. Moving on to the loans, this thing which consumes a lot of used to consume a lot of paperwork. I mean, banks have moved on to many of the segments within the bank. Many of the products within the bank have become absolutely paperless as far as different types of loans are concerned. You don't need to actually sign even the loan documents, or even the stamp paper that used to be, I mean, very common earlier. That has actually gone disappeared. All those sanction letters, everything. I mean, absolutely, it has become paperless for most of the loans that banks disburse. Everything has become paperless for most of the banks. The other thing is, of course, this has actually resulted in a lot of efficiency which has come because of technological implementation. Customers' expectations have increased. Now, customers have also, I mean, different banks offer different services, so customers have also become very saying that they demand that processes become very efficient, paperless, faceless. So the moment they see some good innovation, or let's say process improvement in some other bank, they start expecting the same from other banks also. So this is leading to actually competition within banks, and this has become a given now. I mean, so digitization within the banking process has become a given. As I said, it is no more good to have. It's become a must to have, minimum requirement which is there. Costs have come down. Of course, we now need less number of people to actually do the same thing which we used to do earlier. The other thing which has actually happened within the banking system because of this technological intervention is that data has, of course, become very important. Data analytics and AIs have become very important, and because of that, actually, we are able to reach more customers, new customers, not just geographically, but hitherto many customers which were not, let's say, bankable, so to say, have now become bankable because we are able to, let's say, gather more data about them, which was not available earlier. So all in all, it's become a win-win for I mean both the service provider banks and as well as the customers.
Yeah, I'll try to add on here, right, what Alok mentioned. So I'll just try to give what digitalization, what means at least I have been thinking till now. So I moved to US maybe 2 weeks back, and before that I was in Japan. Okay. Now digitalization, right? Actual digitalization I have seen here. I have got the admission of my kids without a single paper. They are going into school. I got a bank account at my home without signing a single paper. I got a credit card without signing a single paper. I got the lease of my house done without signing a single paper. I got my electricity, gas, water, internet connection without signing a single paper, meeting anyone. Okay. So, so that is, means, at least I have not seen globally, right? Means I've traveled to various parts of the world, that what digitalization is, right? This is about digitalization. The second thing is about, see, for you guys, right? For all of you, right? You have to now, means like you have been doing your MBAs, etc., and all that. You have to stick to the fundamentals, right? You have to understand what is the core function is, what is the core subject is, right? Now digitalization is just an output. It is an output what you guys want, right? What the way you want to run a particular function, a particular segment, a particular vertical, what you want to offer to the customer to make him more delighted, to make your function more efficient, to ensure you are reaching to the last person. Okay. So just to conclude, right? So digitalization cannot be a substitute of a person, because a person or an individual will define the digitalization working with various technology, industry, etc., and all that. But if you're not clear on your subject, on your function, digitalization cannot happen. That too, how it is going to impact your role? It is going to impact your role. Say I am sitting in US. There are 5 people who are working for me in Latin America. There are people who are working in Asia Pacific, in countries like Japan, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, etc., and all. And I have team sitting in India. We run the operations, we run the industry globally, right? Dealing with various customers in different time zones, closing books, again, from the finance perspective, in different time zones, managing various subsidiaries, various entities globally, right? So just to, again, to summarize this piece, you can do whatever you want from everywhere, anything from everywhere. This is the power of digitalization. But again, you should know what you are doing. You should be very strong on the fundamentals on your core subject.
I'll just add to what Ajay said, and Ajay articulated it very well. I think the last part of the question was, what should the finance students expect when they enter into their real work environment, especially in this digitized era? See, whichever sector you join today, the underlying factor that you would see is that there is already quite a bit of technology in play wherever you go. The degree of technology that you would see across corporations might vary. The basics are already there. What Ajay spoke about, and I can speak about, is possibly we are right at the peak of technology adoption person. So we can, we can talk about similar things. Some of the things which Ajay said, I can repeat the same thing with a different name in mind, but it is there. I'll just give you an example. All of you would have studied financial management. You would have heard about the fact that most of the corporations have a forecast process, have a budgeting process. Right? And then that is something which is to some extent an area where there is still a lot of human involvement, which you can see. With account reconciliations becoming simpler and automated, most of the human involvement is shifted to forward-looking stuff. is shifting to stuff where you can predict, where you can look ahead and do your financial planning and so on. And there again, we have tools available depending on, how far is the technology adoption in any of the corporations that you might join tomorrow. That those tools available could just, mean that you are just pressing a few buttons and the data gets pushed in, or it could mean that you have to work on some of the data and then work it, take it forward. It is not that we have reached the peak of technology adoption, nowhere, because technology is evolving very fast. What Ajay spoke about in terms of digitization and then some of the things that he's been able to do without having any papers in place, it just won't stop here, because what's happening now is also what we call as AI enabled stuff. And AI enabled stuff as coming into picture as it is, enabling tools and processes. I expect another wave of technology upgrades which will happen. So if anyone believes that we've reached closer to the peak of technology adoption, yes, we've progressed a lot. And I myself said at the beginning of this seminar that in the last two and a half years in India, or in the environment that I have seen, we have probably adopted technology that we did in the previous 5 years or 7 years. But it's not going to stop here. This is only going to gather even more pace, even more momentum. So my 2 cents to this very esteemed and smart group of people is this. Yes, I agree with Ajay that you should have your fundamentals right. No one will teach you in a corporate world how to do a cash flow, or how to look at a balance sheet, or how to look at some of the basic fundamental ratios that you need to look at. That's expected of you. The tools might differ, the dashboarding might differ, the data visualization techniques might differ, but ultimately, what are people looking at? What will people expect? That using the technology at disposal, what is it that you can tell the business leaders? What is it that you can tell your own leaders in terms of what can we do to make things better? What can we avoid to make things better? That's what people want, end of the day. Can I afford to do this? That could be a question asked to you as a finance guy. Can I afford to do this? How do you answer that? You can't be going back and looking at your bank account and say, okay, I have this much of funds, so let me deploy. No, it's not that. You have to have a business case which you have in mind, which you can play fast and which you can, then respond. Some of the times you might have to just respond immediately.
You want to help me get this thing inside? It's going to start to rot and blow up.
So there's some background somewhere. Okay. So, whatever, the circumstances are, if you have your fundamentals right and you know how to use the tools, then it is your brain power and your ability to connect those dots. Remember, if everything is something that machines will do, or software or AI will do, then we will have to seriously think about the value addition that we are bringing to the table. I can happily share it with you that yes, human beings are still required. You can bring in that value addition. But for you to bring in that value addition, you need to have your fundamentals right. You need to know how to use technology, and you need to have your eyes and ears open. Every day has to be a day of learning for you, whether it is technology, whether it is your subject matter, whether what's happening across in the world. And when you connect those dots, that's when you can help whether it's your promoters, whether it's your owners, whether it's your seniors, to take the right decisions which will help add value to the corporation. That's where I'll give you the pause.
Yeah. So just to add what Kavar mentioned, right? It become responsibility of people like you, right? So when you have to see maybe 10 years down the line, what kind of a industry or what kind of a business you want to see, right? The core to digitalization is technology, right? And the country where we live, right, means India. right? Why we may be lagging behind, right? And this thought was going in my mind, right, when I saw the different world, like I mentioned to you, that why we cannot achieve this kind of a digitalization. So you have to be a kind of a disruptor, and you have to ask some serious questions. How I can ensure in the industry where I am entering, I can take technology to the last person, right? Now, if we are talking about digitalization and we're talking about people like us, right? I think all of us, we can manage stuff, right? But you always have to think, right? A person sitting in a remote village, how I can provide my services to that guy without having a physical interface. You have to question the existing set of norms. And maybe Alok may not like this, but I'm going to say now, say for bankers, okay, they have a different set of digitalization when they want to give a loan to you. And this is my experience with a couple of banks, right? You take a loan, okay, they will do every kind of a digitalization when you have to take a loan. But when the rate of interest is reduced, say by RBI, and you want to go to a banker, okay, you go and reduce my rate of interest, boss, he'll come with some 50 documents. You have to get this document signed, you have to got notarized, you have to visit my branch, etc., and whatnot. Okay. Now, again, there may be some industry norm, some thought process, because every bank is doing that, right? How I can challenge that, right? This is my responsibility. Again, if you want to take digitalization to the next level, okay. Again, because you are going to lead the industry, you have to always come with that thought process with the open mind, that how I'm going to disrupt the business, right? You take n number of examples you will find around you, right? You take example of Cars 24, the way the industry used to be. You take the example of Ola. What is Ola, right? Ola means all of us used to struggle, right? Maybe you guys may not, but like if maybe Kumar, Abhinav, Alok can relate, right? You have to take a taxi, okay, and a auto, and go to a city like Delhi and all, boss. That was a real mafia. Okay, you pay me 1,000 rupees, you may 2,000 rupees, you may 3,000 rupees, and you are out of choice. Okay, you want to sell your car, again a mafia, right? Means, boss, I'll pay you this much, your car is this, that, and all. So that is the power of digitalization. You guys have to think, right? Wherever you are going to work, how you can ensure, right, the last person in the line, if you can impact him. It's not easy, right? Because we have challenges with the literacy. We have people are not educated, but the way this mobile, and thanks to this Reliance, etc., and all that, this 5G, 4G, and all that, people have a device in their hand. Means a great penetration always has done. Now, next thing you guys can do.
Yeah, I'd like to add a couple of things here. As I said earlier, also the next course of growth will be funded through innovation, will be funded through machine learning, will be funded through RPA and all the tech-driven processes. I'll give you a couple of examples that what we are doing. We are a supply chain company. In our case, machine is only forecasting the demand. Then machine is only placing orders to the distributor, taking confirmation from them. And when they are supplying, the machine is only deciding when they have to supply. And whenever they are supplying, machine is doing recon with the what order has been placed versus what GRN is being done. So if in all other world, we see there are huge human intervention or huge manual processes are there. But with machine, this become more accurate and more faster process. So whatever we believe can have a simple set of rules, can be digitized, can be automated, and we will witness this thing in whatever businesses we are into. And see, today, earlier it used to be a separate IT function that used to take care of entire technology piece for the organization. In today's world, we have separate IT functions for each and every enabling function, be it production, be it finance, be it HR. We have separate dedicated IT spots because everyone, if we have to give good feeling to the customer, we need to be on top of what customer demand, and we have to fulfill his demand on time and in full. This can be done with machines only. Humans will be required to take decisions based on data or based on insight. But data and insight can be done from machines only. So that's my point here.
So I just want to add a perspective to it. So guys, I fully agree with what my other co-panelists have stated. See, the perspective that I want you to basically get a hold of is that this requirement of innovation and process improvement through digitization. So the process of the requirement of process changes and innovation is not new. Okay, this requirement has been there for ages. Okay, so it's just that, I mean, the only difference is that now, of course, you can make more process improvement, make through digitization, much more effective innovations through digitization. So it's not that, I mean, you are required or you are expected or you are being encouraged to think differently just because digitization is here. So even if you go back, let's say 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or maybe 30 years also, one was always required to do his or her own job and also look for process improvement around his or her own area, right? So it's just that, I mean, digitization is enabling you to make improvements through this digitization, which is a new tool which is available to us. So don't think that, I mean, just because digitization is there, you are required to do it. This requirement was always there, but you can now think even, I mean, you can think of unimaginable things which we could not probably think earlier. This is the kind of this is the power of digitization. But you have to keep thinking how you can better the processes around you, how you can innovate the things around you through digitization. Yeah.
Absolutely right, sir. The world we live in is truly transforming. Looking at how digitization has changed the businesses makes us think how far we have come. Disruptions caused by the influx of digital technologies are also apparent with the discussion we have had today. What we have observed actually is there are two sides to the coin, and addition of new technologies is the one that should we take note of. Also, we do agree that it is the people that breathe life and how they connect the dots into business rather than the technology itself that we surround ourselves with. We are really honored and blessed to hear your words of wisdom. Truly speaking, right fundamentals is the game changer. I'm sure your insights must have helped the students to get a better understanding about how the finance world is going through a lot of changes and skills and knowledge we need to focus on as future corporate leaders. The discussion has been really insightful and has brought forward how future trends like cashless economy, sustainable investments, influx of technology, and so on have made an impact. The fruitful discussions backed by the experience that our panel members bring in has really opened a lot of avenues to look forward to. I'm sure our students have a lot of questions to ask our panelists. So now let us open the floor for students to come up with questions for the panelists. We already have one. So let us move forward. I request Raghib, you can take forward with the session now.
Sure, Pranjali. Due to paucity of time, we'll be taking a few questions. The other questions will be forwarded to the panelists to the respective mail IDs. So please raise your hands. The people who want to ask the questions, I would request them to raise their hands. Siddhant Jain, you can ask your question.
So my question is, what do you think about the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency? It is to Ajay sir.
See, I have two views, right? So one, there is my personal view. To me, cryptocurrency, I till now I have tried to understand, but I could not understand what it means, how it is bringing the value add, and I have not seen a practical use of cryptocurrency. Okay, blockchain, right? But again, blockchain, I think it has a lot of future, right? You are going to see, in fact, we are seeing the real impact and real sense of uses of blockchain in almost every industry, right? I'll give a simple example, right? If suppose someone has put a the word blockchain, right? He has worked on blockchain, etc. in their resume, the probability of picking that resume increases far ahead. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I like to what Ajay said. On the cryptocurrency, yes. There's no fundamental base to what the valuation we are having in market. But again, for blockchain, it's a new technology, and the next level of automation, digitization will be coming from there only. But in blockchain, that require a lot of energy and a lot of optimization in terms of storing data, in terms of storing the change of hands. So that will take some time in my view, but yes, that will be the future for digitization and innovation.
I hope this has answered your question, Siddhant. I would like to ask Harsh to ask this question next.
A very good evening to all the panelists. So my question is, like in the recent years, a lot of startups have to roll out their IPOs, and these companies are not making any profits. So these are the companies which are solely relying on their valuation. So is it right to allow these companies to go through their IPO, or is it right to these companies to go public? So what are your views on that?
See, this is a very debatable question, right? See, I think this is more kind of a regulator question. Can this be allowed or not? In my view, yes, they should be. The real question should be whether we should invest, okay, in those kind of companies. That is one. And two, maybe what kind of a more checks and balances can be brought in the system, so that the regulators are ensuring the people are not losing their money, right? See, means these companies, right? So you take the big names, right? Now you see the valuation where they were and where they are now when they come into public forum. That has been destroyed to a great extent, right? You take any big names which have come maybe in the last, say, 7 to 8 quarters in the market. The valuation may be not bottom, but at least they have lost 50% of their valuation. Can they survive with this? Maybe to some extent, yes. Can they live without profits? The answer is no, right? They are just surviving till the time funding is happening. Now, can we make a view whether they should be allowed or not? Yes, they should be allowed. But again, there should be a lot of checks and balances around them, right? Maybe they should be profitable, say, for this many period, or before they come into the market, etc., and all that. But completely stopping that, I don't think that may be possible.
So just want to add here, see, InfoEdge at some point of time, they were innovative, they were new, and adoption of InfoEdge was not there. InfoEdge is Naukri.com or 99bricks.com. See, there should be a road to profitability, which is essential in wherever we invest. And there has to be some sense to valuation at what point of time we are entering into that particular stock. These should be considered while investing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this has answered your question, Harsh. We see a lot of questions being asked in the DMs and the chats, but I feel that we do not have a lot of time. So I'd like to hand over Pranjali, and please, Pranjali, take up the session and
Sure, Raghib. Due to the paucity of time, we would collect your questions and send to the guests, and that would be replied. So now I would like to formally end the session with a vote of thanks. We, the Corporate Relations Committee, would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our panelists for taking out time and gracing us with their presence in this event and making it a resounding success. We are grateful for your contribution to the event, and we will certainly take many insights from it. Rahul, if you can share the PPT, please. As a humble token of appreciation, we are proud to present you. We are proud to present you with a certificate acknowledging the planting of tree through our partner Grow Trees. As we speak, these certificates are being shared with you on your emails. We hope the tree signifies the values that our financial leaders have towards the growth of our country. As it is famously said, a good event never ends in the world. They only take a pause and keep us awaiting for the next. With this thought, we thank you all once again, and we hope to continue our association in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Pranjali.
Thank you so much.
Raghav.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everyone.
thank you, and
Everyone.
all the very best.
All
Thank
the
you.
very best to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank
Take
you.
care, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. All the very best.